I'm Dr. Lazaro Cardenas. I'm professor of plastic surgery. I'm the president of the scientific committee of the National Association of Plastic Surgery in Mexico. And my wife is with me here and always is with me because all the surgery that we do with her because she's also a specialist on face and noses, so almost all the noses that we do are done by her. So the first thing that we have to discuss or talk a little bit is why we do surgeries on transgender patients. Well, this was the first patient I received probably 15 or 17 years ago, patient that wanted to transform or change the shapes of the faces, injecting silicone or different things on the body. And you can see how they deform a little bit the faces. It's only a little bit of deformities. Or sometimes trying to put an injection of silicone on the cheeks, on the chin, and how they try to change the faces. And with the pass of the time, all the injection that you put on the face or on the body, they're going to transform your body, they're going to transform your face, and you can have a lot of deformities like this. This one on the face, but when they do it on the body, for example, this is on the breast, they try to get bigger breasts, and that's after probably 10 or 15 years, how they change, or this type of shape after injecting silicone. So I receive a lot of patients like that. So what we try to do is to change the mind or the things that they do to try to do surgery instead of injecting silicone. That's a symbolic injection of silicone and how they change or destroy the body. So why surgery for transgender patients? When we begin to do that, we thought that was a very good problem because there were a lot of transgender patients with disastrous results trying to change the body like you saw in the previous pictures. And there were very few surgeons that understand transgender patients. So also there were very few surgeons that knew how to perform surgical procedures to achieve transgender patient desires. So that's the reason that we began to do this type of surgery. So our objectives of these patients are to attend transgender patients to provide the improvement they want and also have results and change with the highest quality possible. We thought that was a big problem because sometimes it's difficult to do this type of surgeries, but when you use the correct techniques, well, it's not as difficult as you can see. We're going to talk first of all of facial feminization. We do a lot of things, not only facial feminization. So in facial feminization, the first thing that we have to do is analyze the difference between male and female faces and also combine different surgical procedures according to the needs or desires of each patient. Obviously, there are important differences between male and female faces, and we are going to say the most important one. For example, on men, the forehead is bigger than on a woman. Also, you are going to find lateral baldness on men instead of women that you have roundness on the hairline. We're going to find prominent supraorbital rings on men and not in women. And also, we're going to have prominent, we call supraciliar arch that is in the lateral area of the orbita. And we're going to see a wider jaw and also a wide or square chin on the man, and a woman has a triangular chin instead of a square chin on the man. Also in woman, we can see that the jaw is different in the angle of the mandibular angle. And also the woman has a bigger cheekbone and is going to be a smaller or shorter upper lip, but it will have more fullness, more prominent. And if we see the photograph from the profile, we can see on men that the forehead is different on shape. This is more round, and this is more prominent on the lower part, and it's like curved backwards instead of being rounded. Also the nose, well, you know that the nose on women are thinner and are more lifted than in men. And also in men you can see a prominent chin instead of a woman. And the thyroid cartilage is more prominent on men than in women. So all those things can be changed during a surgery. during a facial surgery. So when we are looking, or when we are looking facial feminization, well, probably we want to achieve this type of face, but not always this face is the best one. You can see square chins like here, or prominent jaws, and they look good. They look good. So we have to see, and we have to decide with patients what the patient wants, and what we can get with the patient who makes probably this type of shape of face, or probably this shape, and probably that will look good. So when we do forehead reshaping, what we are going to do, there are 3 things, like we said. The first one is to regulate this area, to remove this prominent right here, and also sometimes we have to work in this area, and also we have to work on the lateral area to improve all the forehead. And when we work on the upper lip, or when we want to do or have upper lip improvement, what we do is to give more fullness right here, and we achieve it with fat injections. We use fat injections to achieve this, and also we short the lip, the height of the lip. And we're going to show you some patients. For example, in this case, it's only 10 days after surgery, because we're talking about the forehead, how the forehead is smaller, and how the lip is much, much better. With both procedures, we make a cut in here, and we pull the lip, and we make fullness with some fat injections. You can see the shape, for example, of the forehead, and how the lips look much, much better, and how we diminish the prominence right here, and also a little bit right here, to make it more roundness, and how the lips looks better. A lot of my patients are out of Mexico. I have patients from around the world. I will show you some of different areas of the world. So only patients that come back for a second surgery, I can have photographs 4 years or 5 years later. But all patients that came from me before they leave Mexico, I take photographs. So I have photographs of all my patients. Some of them are very short on time because they are out of Mexico. This is another patient we make a cut of the lip right here to make it shorter. And well, noses, we do a lot of noses. No patient probably we do a lot of noses, and what we try to do is to make a small nose, a more defined nose, and to make a little bit more pointed up and more defined on the tip, and try to look more feminine, the nose, instead of being wide like this, trying to achieve this type of results with surgery. So that's a surgery that we do very, very common. And also, well, we talk about having more prominence on the cheek area, so we do that with cheek implants, putting right here, we do it through the mouth, so there is no scar. You won't see any scars on the surgery. And when we work on the jaw, on the chin, also we do it through inside, so there's not going to be any scars. What we do on the jaw? Well, there are 2 things that we can do. We can shape this area to make more thinner or less wide, or we can cut this area to improve the angle. And on the chin, we shape it, and we give a better shaping with a chin reshaping. But usually what we do is work on both areas. We work on the posterior area and the jaw, and we also work on the anterior area on the chin. So we change all the shape of the chin. Here's an example. On this patient, we change all the face. We work on the forehead, we work on the nose, we put cheek implants, and we change the shape of the chin on the jaw, and we make the jaw, the chin shorter. So also, after that, she has hair grafting right here, so it looks much, much better. So you can see a difference between before and after, and she's after probably 1.5 years or 2 years after surgery, because she came back with us to do something on the body. So on these cases, I can take the photographs and I can have more follow-up after surgery. You can see how this looks much, much better with the forehead going from here to here to the nose. Also, we remove cartilage from the trachea, the thyroid cartilage, we remove it from here. And we do microfat grafting to improve cheeks, to improve lips, and to improve also the temporal area. Yes?
Is microfat grafting in any way analogous to liposuction?
I didn't hear.
Is microfat grafting in any way analogous or similar to liposuction from one part of the body to
Well, we have to do liposuction to obtain the fat, and then we prepare the fat and then we inject it. So we have to do it anyway.
Thank you.
So if we see what the patient wants or what we do on the patients, normally 65 to 70% have forehead improved or forehead surgery. Between 55 and 60% have surgery on the chin. Between 45 and 50% on the jaw area, and then on the nose, around 40%. On the trachea, between 20 and 25%. We do surgery on the lips, between 50 and 20% of the patients that came with us. And finally, we do between 10 and 60% of patients of the cheek area for an implant or also injecting some fat there. I'm going to show you some clinical cases of all the different things that we do. For example, this patient has 6 years after surgery. Sometimes they ask about the scar on the hairline. Well, here's the scar on the hairline after 6 years. A little bit difficult to see it. You can see right here, the line. So we improved her face during this surgery. Probably this surgery was done 15 years ago. And how she looks after the surgery. This is a very difficult case because it's a very, very prominent bones, and she wanted to look more feminine. And we did the forehead in a colored person like her. The scars sometimes are worse than in a white person, but on her case, the scar was okay. It's not very, very, very noticeable. And we shaved the bone area. We improved the nose. She had injected silicone right here to try to improve the chin. So what we did is we did a sliding genioplasty right here, working on the chin, and also we removed the silicone. We work on the nose, on the cheeks, on the jaw, and you can see how the improvement on the forehead is achieved, and the nose. We leave the lift, and how also the chin was improved with the surgery, removing the silicone that she had there. This is another patient also with very, very wide bones, and how we improve all the areas, especially the forehead and the lower part. And we did facelift at the same time. So our patient needs also a facelift to improve all the area. And you can see how improved the forehead, removing the supraciliar rim right here and closing the forehead right here, and the nose and the chin, and also the facelift that we made. And when we have faces with thinner bones or not as wide as the other one, well, we can have these results. This is 3 months after surgery. She came back to have some work done on the body also. It's only 10 days after surgery. I present this case because sometimes they tell me, well, how I'm going to look at 10 days or at 15 days. Well, this is how she looks after 10 days. We inject fat in all this area. All the area that you have in here seen with green. We inject fat to improve that, and also we make a surgery on the forehead and the nose. And we put some fat on the cheek area, and we improve. You can see the bruise right here because we work on the chin and on the jaw. So that before and after, only 10 days after surgery, and that's before and after. This is a patient that came back. This is a patient from. Do you remember her, Taylor?
Yeah, from the United Kingdom, right?
England, from England, yes.
Rachel?
Yes.
I think her name is Rachel.
From Europe, I mean that well. She came back for a trachea shape, and before that we have made the forehead, the nose, implants on the cheek implants, the lip, and all the shaping of this area. You can see how what her improvement before and after. And here is the incision for the trachea shape that she came back for that. And how improving, and well, it looks more feminine, more natural, all the features that she has now. This is a patient of Mexico, and I show this patient because in Mexico it's very difficult to accept that a patient has this type of surgery. Probably 99% of my patients are in Mexico. I have operated probably 5 or 6 patients from Mexico, and probably 1,000 outside of Mexico. So this is a very good patient from Mexico, and he didn't want to change the behavior in Mexico, but try to look more feminine when he wake up. So what we did on his case was to improve all the areas to make it more feminine, but not the forehead. Not the forehead because he has enough hair to cover the incision. So you can see it's a feminine face, like a man, but a feminine face, looking much better. And the forehead is still the same, but all this area has improved with the surgeries. And one of the things that he was very grateful with the surgery was the changing the shape of the lips and the chin and the jaw. And you can see how this improved. Remember Sarah? Sarah is from Canada. I named, or I tell her name because I asked them if they allow me to use them in the presentations, and they say, okay, it's good for me. So this is Sarah. Sarah had a very big forehead, and on her case, you can see also she had a depression right here. So we make a type 3 forehead improvement, like Osterhood has described it. So has a very big sinus right here. So what we did on her case, we removed all the bone and we reshaped the bone, and we have the results only 1 week after surgery. She's going to come back in 2 or 3 months to Mexico, but surgery was done in the beginning of the year. But you can see how we can improve all this forehead, and we can reshape all this in one line, more rounded forehead and the scar is right here. She sent me a photograph through internet, so we can see it's only probably 1 month after surgery, and this is around 5 to 6 months after surgery. With well, we also work on her nose and some things in the lower part of the face. Justin from United Kingdom also. She's from Canada. She's from Canada.
Canada.
And here is the reshaping. We did the same thing. We reshaped the forehead with a setup bone reposition right here. And she's only 1 week or 10 days after surgery. And also, it is the same case on her case. So this is surgery 10 days after surgery. So that's the way that we're going to do 10 days after surgery. We work on the forehead, the nose, the lip, and all the improvement that she had with the surgery. And this is a patient from Mexico. This is a patient from Mexico, and this is around 2 or 3 weeks after surgery. We did the forehead, the nose, cheeks, and also the trachea shape. And see how the improvement is achieved with this type of surgery. So there's a lot of patients that have sent me photographs through the internet, and I will show you some of them with all the results that we can achieve with the surgeries. There is a lot of surgeries done in this patient also, on the forehead, on the nose, the cheek, the jaw, the chin. Another patient that we only work on the forehead and the nose. Anyhow, this is the way that she looks now. This is one of our first patients from the United States, and this is before and after surgery also. And well, she was very pleased with the results, and she sent me photographs of the wedding right here, 1 year after the surgery. I don't remember if it's from the United Kingdom also. This is Jenny also. We did breast surgery and liposuction and facial feminization. And sometimes we do also a facelift, like on her case, we did the surgery at the same time. She's from Canada, did before and after. Before and after. I don't remember what is from United States. Well, she also sent me her photographs, and she allowed me to present it on this presentation. And this is a recent surgery from Germany. And it's almost probably 3 or 4 weeks after surgery. Well, but let's talk something about other things. Facial feminization is not all. We put breast implant. We do a lot of surgeries on woman breast implant and transgender patients also. We use cohesive gel implants. These cohesive gel implants have lifetime warranty. If there is a problem with the implant, they change it to you with no charge. And we can use round or thin drop implant depending on which patient. And well, these are the round shaped implants that we usually use in patients. That's the results before and after. How can you see the breast and before and after? And also this another before and after. And well, in some patients we use the anatomical drop implants that are going to give you a different shape, more natural, depends on each patient, which one is going to be chosen. And this is the before and the after with a teardrop or an anatomical implant. You can see it's a more flat in here, more round in the lower part, so that's the way that it looks. This is before the surgery. What about body contour? Well, we do a lot of body contour also. And we can do it in overweight patients, like her case, where we remove fat. This is only fat remotion with not tummy tuck. When they want tummy tuck, they are going to have the scar, but it's going to look much better, the abdominal area. But with the liposuction, we can improve only this area, because we only did liposuction in this area. So you can see that the difference between before and after, with only liposuction, improving the shape, removing some fat from the area. On her case, we didn't inject fat on the buttocks. We're going to see how it can improve the buttock with fat or with implants. And buttock improvement is one of the things that patients are looking more right now. And normally we can do fat grafting, remove fat from some areas and inject on the buttocks. And we can inject only on the upper part of the buttocks, like this patient. That before and after, only inject on the upper part. Removing fat from this area, injecting fat in this area, so that's the way that we can improve that area. Or we can inject fat in all the buttock, like we can see in this photograph. So we can improve from this to this with the liposuction and make it a better shape. Or we can inject also on the lateral areas, on the hips. We're injecting fat on the hips also at this moment. So you can have this to this, removing fat from here and injecting on the buttocks. And give him a better shape, bigger shape, and more roundness with the surgery. But sometimes we need to use implant because sometimes the patient doesn't have enough fat to put it on the buttocks. So what we do is put an implant. This is before surgery, and this is after surgery with the implant. The implant is put through an incision that goes here on the crease between both buttocks, so it's difficult to see it. And this is a patient that have injected some silicone injector on the buttocks, so we have to remove it, put an implant, and this is the result after the surgery. On these cases, you will put the implant and we inject fat in this area because the main shape has this type of depression right here. So we have to inject fat and inject fat right here and put the implant in this area. So here are the results, putting an implant right here and putting fat on the lateral areas, on the hips. So this is before and this is after. This is before and after. You can see implants in here, fat injection in here. She's from Italy and she sent me the photographs on the beach, like this. And we're putting now hip implants. Hip implants are not designed in the world. We made the first design of this type of implant. And here's the patient, the first patient that we put a hip implant is a patient from Australia. She already had problems with fat and with buttock implants. She already had it, they have to remove it, and then she came with me to put the hip implant right here and the buttocks right here. So this is the scar that she had because of the problem she had before. And well, that's where the implant goes in this area, where the implant goes in this area. And this is before, this is after. You can see the very shape. We also improve the scar that she had right here before the surgery. And she sent me photographs from Australia 3 months later, so this is before and this after. And this after, you can see the shape that she has after the surgery. And we published this in the best plastic surgery journal in Latin America that's called Plastic Surgery Ibero Latin America. And this is another patient, the same problem with hip depression right here, and she had implants on the bottom area, but it was very big implants. You can see the difference between a hip implant, a very small one, and the bottom area is bigger than the hip implants. And well, this is before and this is after. We have a very round shape. Also, this is before and this is after. On the hips, we changed the implant from the buttocks and we put implants on the hips. This is before and this is after. Before and after. this look more natural. This looks like, say, like a clown bottom before and after. And also these are hip implants. You can see here the incision for the hip implants. Here the position for the hip implants put, and with the light suction, you can see how it looks. Well, also we do facelifts in patient.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Have you seen any complications with those implants?
Yes, we always have complications. What type of complication we can have here? Movement, displacement, we can have it on that area.
They come out?
The bottom implants is
Extrusion or anything like that?
no extrusion, no, because they are under the muscle. It's very difficult to have an extrusion. Well, some patient wants facelifts. I show or I tell patient that the facelift is something that's going to improve a lot the face, and sometimes with the facelifts it's enough to have a very, very good improvement instead of doing a lot of things on the face. For example, it's a patient that have facelift with the eyelids, and you are going to see 4 or 5 patients in this type of surgery, and you can see the difference before and after. They look much, much better, younger, because with the facelift, the scar are very difficult to see because the scar is in here and here on the lower eyelid. It's another patient with the same type of surgery, facelift before and after, with the light suction on the neck, so we can reshape the neck, make it thinner, or make it less wide the neck, remove the fat from all this area, and how can improve the eyebrows and the eyelids with the facelift. On her case also we did the same thing, the eyelids, the eyebrows, we make a facelift and we put a small chin implant with light suction, and how it improves all the face. And sometimes this improves a lot, doing a light suction on the neck and doing a facelift at the same time all the surgeries. And on her case, the same thing. We did some peelings on the skin resurfacing also in this area to improve the skin quality. And this is 1 year after surgery. Well, and we're going to end with this. We have 4 minutes on my speech. There, Taylor is going to speak a little bit. But I have 3 testimonies of life. The first one is Mario. Probably you know a lot of Mario, a lot of you. Mario not here. She called me that she couldn't make it because she had a lot of things to do. But she was a Venezuelan model, and she had a lot of work like a man, but she decided to change and to be a woman. So we did a lot of things on her, and we changed from this Manuel to Mario. And that's one of our good results, because we can do it when the shape of the face allows us to do this type of changes with before and after. We also make surgery on her body. We put breast implant, we do the reshaping, the liposuction. So that's Marion 1 year ago. Diana is here. Is back there. She lives here in Atlanta. And well, her surgery was probably 5 or 6 months ago, right? 4 months ago. And when I did the surgery, she knew that I was going to come here, and she told me that she would come here to explain or to tell you about her experience there. And well, Diana, you can tell us what we did on your case, because we did the face, and we do the face with the nose, we improve a face with a facelift, and also we did the breast. I asked her to present her breast, and she told me, yes, you can present it, and that's before and it's after. And this is a result with her, and see how pretty she looks. Diana, can you talk about your experience, about what you had in Mexico with us?
Can we stand up?
Yes.
I'll come up. I've been very pleased, and just to give you some background, I was out searching for Dr. Osterhout, and I've talked to him 12 years ago, and I did some research, and pops Dr. Cardenas' information on a YouTube video, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to email him. And I emailed him, and we went from there, and we talked about what needed to be done, and he said, take some very unflattering pictures of yourself. So I did, and I sent them to him. I can't believe he showed us. But my main thing is I wanted to go and have my forehead done. You know, like a lot of girls, your forehead and the brow bossing just had to go. So, okay, the picture back. Do you do that? Look at this picture. This is like the most unflattering picture I took at my house. He said, really give me a good one. So I took
That
it.
one's the best one.
Okay. And he just like he showed you, he ground down my forehead, he gave me a facelift, I asked him, I couldn't decide whether to do my nose or my jaw, and I guess right the night before, I said, I want to have my jaw done instead of my nose. So, and I had to have my breast done too, so I was on the table for a while, wasn't I?
Yeah, it's probably around 4 hours and a half.
And it was an excellent experience. Honestly, I really look back on it fondly, and it was very painless, really. The most pain I was in was the night of the surgery, and that's because I had to sleep upright. And it was, it was very uncomfortable because I had my breast done and my head, and there were stitches, followed me all the way around here and hooked up to the back of my ear. So if I tried to move, pulled on here, pulled on here, pulled on here. But the next day, everything started to heal better, and I started to move around, and finally got to wash my hair after a few days, which really looked good. I don't know if you have that picture. Oh, you don't? Remember the one I sent you that I was really concerned about my eyes were so swollen? My face was yanked. But your question?
I almost went to Dr. Jeffrey Spiegel in Boston in March until I found out about Dr. Cardenas. Dr. Spiegel something about what you have to do, your own aftercare. How much of that is done by Dr. Cardenas and company, or you have, how much do you have to do post-surgical care, or how does that go after surgery? What happens after like the next few days or so?
I'm telling you, he confounds. I have some friends who are doctors, and I have one, and my brother-in-law's a dentist. And they were confounded on how well everything healed after I went back after 10 days. He has a mist that we had to spray our incisions with, and he gave us some I guess they're mild antibiotics, they weren't real strong, and didn't give you anything for pain. He gave you an anti-inflammatory, and I took ibuprofen. That's all I took for it. I brought my own ibuprofen, to take. It healed. It was amazing. I was swollen, and but after 10 days, I went back on the airplane. People looked at me because they probably thought I got into a fight. My eyes were still a little bruised, and then I went down to stay in Florida at my parents' house, and I was there after about 5 days. And some of those, he probably doesn't have about that's a few months old, but it healed well, and there was no pain. The pain was. I still had some stitches, but luckily my brother-in-law is a dentist, so he took the stitches out that were left in. Yes.
How long do you have numbness in your forehead?
How what?
Numbness. How long do you have?
I still have a little numbness, but that's a good thing because it's almost the equivalent of getting Botox. I can't. So I have to go back and have my head done again so I can get long-term Botox because I can't really furrow. See, that's about as much as I can do. I have numbness right here. It's very little, and my head's starting to come back, but it felt like I had a rug on my head for a few months.
Yes, normally it takes around 6 to 8 months to recover all the sensitivity.
I could care less if I had healing on top of my head. Yes.
I had spoken to some other patients, and the question is about replacement of the hair with the suture line outside of the hair, within the hair. Yours, from where I'm seeing, I can't see anything.
You can feel it a little bit, just because where he shaved off my forehead, you can feel a small, but you can't see it. You can't see it. And then when he did my facelift, he went down through my hairline, and this part of my ear right here, he cut right along that, and you can't even tell me. You can't even tell I don't even have a scar on the side of my head.
Wow.
And I did walk away with a casualty though. My earlobe he pulled it away from the side of my, so if I ever go back into faces. But otherwise, it was a really good experience. Yes?
My question is, will you have to go back in to eventually get it filled in or anything like that again, or will it permanently stay?
What, my facelift?
No, the hairline. Like, with any hair loss at all?
Oh,
Will you
yeah.
have any hair loss?
I did have hair
Well,
loss.
yeah, you lose hair in the first 2 or 3 or 4 weeks and then grows again. I don't know how it's you.
Oh,
Yeah, I had
it'll
hair
grow
loss.
again.
I was, I had about a week's worth of hair in one drying set when I dried hair one time. I was like, hair's a big thing for us, right? Keep your hair, and it was coming out.
But then grows again.
Yeah, I know, it's just trauma. I kind of liken it to, when you have hair transplants, the hair falls out. I mean, basically, he lifted up my scalp and, pulled it forward, so it's like one big hair. Then yeah, first.
I had been able to sit in on Dr. Osterhout for a minute. He suggested prior to the hair work using minoxidil and such. Is there a similar requirement with Dr. Cardenas?
Well, you can use it. There's a lot of
I'm
things.
using it now.
There's a lot of things that you can use to improve the hair growing.
Really?
Yes, that's a point that you can use after surgery and can recommend it. But normally, if you don't have masculine hormones or you are using feminine hormones, you are going to have growing hair. Anyone else? We could have another testimony? Yes.
You have hairline advancement as well?
Yes.
And I can testify, oh my God, make a testament to the minoxidil because I started using it. I read online that a lot when women have hair loss, it's not that's caused by trauma, from surgery. It helps a lot, and I started using it about 6 weeks ago. And I thought, if it makes the hair that fell out grow back faster, wonderful. Little did I know that my hair would start falling out again. A lot. I mean, I drive before, I used to have, because I color my hair, so I'd have broken pieces and this. My hair's this long and it's falling out.
We're going to have another testimony and then you can ask the other patient.
Okay.
You want to add something? Yeah, thank you very much.
No, it's my pleasure. It was just, I'll say this, it was a really quite a good experience. It was painless, and one more thing, you see with Dr. O, how he keeps you bandaged for 3 or 4 days, keeps tubes in for drainage. Mine were out the next morning, which really blows everyone's mind. It's like, oh my gosh, but I had no problem whatsoever.
Yeah, we leave drains only one day.
Yeah, one day, next morning, it was out.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, my pleasure.
Thank you.
She's Ina, probably her surgery was almost 2 years ago, 1.5 probably. And we did a lot of surgeries on her. We did the forehead, we did the nose, we shaved the forehead, we did a forehead advancement, we did the lip, and we improved the lip and jaw and the chin, and we also did the trachea. She left Guadalajara 3 weeks after surgery, and you can see her face before and after, from one side to the other side. And the swelling of the areas is now present. And here, she sent me the pictures of all the evolution before and after when she arrived to Mexico, and after several months. And this is before and after. She lose weight, and she sent me a picture yesterday because she told me, "Do you want a really good picture of me before surgery?" Yes, send it to me. And that's before surgery, and this is after surgery. And Ina's here with us. Ina, thank you very much for being here.
Hey guys. Miracle worker. There's really nothing else that describes this man and his life. When I came to the decision, I wasn't a young boy. I already have some mileage on. And so quite often we come to a point where we just say, oh my God, now it's kind of too late. years gone by, and I don't see how this is in any way, shape, or form possible. Tremendous belief in it. However, when I decided, I still didn't believe it. I said, well, this is going to be a halfway thing, and I'm going to be somewhere in the shadows for the rest of my life. And then I started to research possibilities of surgery. And I interviewed with almost every single one surgeon in America. What was coming through, though, it was mostly everybody was very interested in how many procedures are going to be done and how much money the whole thing is going to cost. When I wasn't quite sure, I ran into Maria, who the doctor talked about first, and we became real good friends. In fact, I didn't believe her that she was a transsexual person. I thought this was a spoof and this was a beautiful model, just putting this on YouTube. But then she convinced me truly she was a man before. And I said, well, okay, I've gone the same route. I did go see Dr. O, Dr. Z, Dr. this and that. And she said, you really have to talk to Lazaro. And I said, I'm looking for possibilities. I'm kind of stuck in a corner. Let's do this. What came through that was kind of amazing is that all the other doctors that I've spoke with were very businesslike, were very kind of stock, and well, this is what we do, and chop chop, and this is how much it costs. When can I put you down? When I called doctor and I said, well, I would love to have a chat with you, he said, let's have a video conference. And when he did, I see him being at home after dinner, and this was late, and I was like, oh my God, I don't want to take your time away from the family and whatnot, and I know you're probably busy. He said, no, I'm here for you. Let's talk about this. And I think we spoke about an hour and a half. And he was really genuinely, he cared. He was eager to help. And right then, I knew, if anybody's gonna touch my face, it's gonna be Lazaro. Long story short, I came, had quite a bit of work, basically whole facial feminization from the forehead, nose, jaw, and chin. Upper lip lift as well. And now you've heard the testimony about the recovery. It was, for what it looks like, it really isn't that much of a recovery. I was off the pain medication probably 2.5 days and went on Tylenol or ibuprofen. I don't even remember which one it was, but it was the generic stuff. Tyler and Vincenzo were amazing. They really help you all along. So it's a full service deal. So there are no worries. I myself requested that I would stay a little bit longer. I think the minimum is what, 7 days, 7, 8 days?
Yeah, 7 is the minimum.
I requested 14 days to stay. So that I was still kind of unsure. There was so much talking about, oh my God, you're going to Guadalajara. You don't know what it is like in America. Everything is so safe. Well, when you really start looking at it, still the city of Philadelphia is probably way worse in areas than Guadalajara. When I arrived there, it was phenomenal. I got picked up from the airport. And everything was serviced. Everything was from point A to point B. And you weren't ever left alone in a sense. So safety was amazing, beautiful city. And comparing to our best in America. And the recovery was, I think, a couple nights right after the surgery, where the only most uncomfortable thing was that you have to sleep upright because of the fluid that can somehow shift from side to side if you lay down, so you want it to drain. And that's kind of unusual for me, at least it was, to sleep upright. But that went away real quick, and then life went on. What you've seen on the pictures, the recovery part, it's a continuum. It gets better and better and better. So the pictures that you see of all the girls that have been done, 10 days after, 20 days after, year after, when they're 3 years later, it really becomes quite an amazing transformation.
I asked about minoxidil before. I take biotin also for kind of like hair and nails. Do you have any experience with that?
No, not at all. No, I've used soy products as my start to hormones, and then HRT, regular stuff. Really don't use anything. I've been gifted with hair, so that was kind of one thing I didn't have to worry about. But no, I really can't say.
Did you stay at Rest and Recover?
Where?
Did you stay at Rest and Recover?
Yes, the pilot.
That's how.
I must not have been there.
No, you weren't.
I was like, my memory's going bad because I don't remember you, but I was probably out of
No,
town.
you came after we left.
Right.
You said Vincente.
Vicente was there, but I was probably out of town.
As handsome, but
Well, I was going to say, I failed to talk about Rest and Recover, which is totally different than here in the U.S. If you go to Dr. Rowe, you're going to be in a hotel room. Okay? You're going to be all alone in a hotel room.
I would have been the same with Dr. Spiegel.
Okay, see, I brought a friend with me because I didn't know what to expect. Thank God I did, because I was very limited movement-wise. But talk about Rest and Recover. I mean, these girls, if they go and do it, it's like hands,
you guys have been, I hate to use that word, from arrival till you depart.
They pick you up at the airport.
When you do buy the package, the inclusive package, it's done. Tremendous meals.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a toe work done, and I had these sutures around my jaw, and I could not buy things for a while, and I was like, oh gosh, yeah, stop cooking because it smells so good, and I couldn't eat it. And they asked, even then, they asked, well, you know what, I'm gonna make you shakes. Do you like any particular shake? And I said, can you do it on soy-based? They ran out and grabbed the soy. So the attention to each individual person is amazing. It's really, it goes beyond what you would expect. And here's the thing, is talking about, well, we do it this way in America, and they probably do it that way because it's not America. But you know what? At certain aspects of it, it's better.
I will attest to the place where Tyler runs. It is phenomenal. It just always there for you. Takes you to every appointment.
You were there 3 weeks?
No, just 10 days.
10 days ago?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, no, I was there
No,
3 months ago.
What the surgery done?
About 3 months ago.
3 months ago.
And it's just wonderful. And I had 8 procedures on my face, and I never took one pain medicine. Nose, forehead, facelift, upper and lower lifts, lip lift, never had any pain medicine. But the place where at Rest and Recovery, it's wonderful.
Were there any parties going on when you were there?
In another apartment building.
No. Vincente was, he has a tendency to have some fun while you were gone with the girls and stuff. And it's like, I had to get up and say, Vincente, it's 2 in the morning, give me a break. But that was the only
I
bad
need to
thing.
go back. Go ahead.
Up in Boston, it would have been nurse with a lot of, it's almost like we're on the clock. The cost just for nursing care would have been a significant $1,000 so everything was like an aided together piece by piece meal. And
It's one thing is about money, because obviously it is a very significant part of this. For some that cannot
Right,
let and be themselves
right.
with going to Guadalajara, that is a big deal. But to me, it was, the money aspect wasn't really on the forefront, and it even wasn't in the middle of it. This is your life.
Right.
You know, Dr. Lazaro is almost a father figure to me, because without that intervention, without that possibility, I know that my life, I don't care how much hormones you're gonna load out on top of that, my life would have been in the middle ground. And I, for my entire life, dreamt about, and I felt within, I am a woman, I am a girl, I want to be a girl. I did not want to be a trans person or transsexual, I would want to be a girl. And when you unfortunately come within the age, and I was born in the 60s, so that makes me like 26 now. So. That puts you in a bracket where the possibilities of hormonal intervention are, they do quite a bit, but they don't change anything. So, with magnificent hands, and he's an artisan. They both are artisans. It takes a little bit more to make that a little bit extra effort. And I'm standing here out of my own will, attesting to it, because it is necessary that everybody knows about this. So.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're going to finish with two things. Marion sent us a video, and then later we're going to talk a little bit about breast recovery. Some questions they're going to ask him about how they do this, their work in Guadalajara receiving people. So, let's. Keep Mario. Well, I want to finish before Taylor presents. One important thing is that we was talking about that with Ina yesterday, is that we don't change face and bodies, we change souls and lives. That's the thing that we try to do with our surgeries, because we try to understand what you are looking for, not only for a surgery. You're looking for change your lives and your souls. Thank you very much.